congressional lawmakers had a fun hockey game with lobbyists, and we should celebrate. At least that's the sense I got from reading about it in The Hill, which just blows my mind because there's no mention of how problematic it is that the corruption is so baked into our system that you got these congressional lawmakers having hockey games with lobbyists all out in the open, and everyone's like, yeah, this is great. Now, the cover story is that they're doing it for charity. What's the cause? Raise money for women in hockey, which I don't want to get the hockey people mad, so I'm just going to move on. Now, the headline, really, that like
apparently we're not moving.
No, we're not moving. Really, we need congressional lawmakers to play ass slap football with lobbyists for women's hockey? Really?
Okay, guys. So first of all, in this case, I suppose it would be ass slap hockey rather than football.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
By the way, I Googled that phrase. That's not a phrase. You say it all the time.
Yeah, I made it up.
Oh. I like it.
Okay, so but guys, the reason why what Anna's saying is relevant and not just a random dig at women's hockey is because like this is the top cause. This is why you guys had to get together. No, you guys wanted to get together so that the lobbyists can influence the lawmakers and that the lawmakers can take tons of bribes from them.
Yes, that's exactly right. So nothing against women's hockey. That's the cover story, and they were too lazy to find a better cover story. That's my point. Yeah. So they raised $150,000 doing this, okay? Now let's give you the headline from The Hill. Lawmakers trounce lobbyists in annual charity hockey game. And you know what? That's about the only time lawmakers trounce lobbyists, because most of the time lobbyists own our politicians. And the corporate donors that they represent own our politicians. So in the piece, Emily Brooks writes, after the House of Representatives gaveled out for the week on Wednesday, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, a Republican from Minnesota, traded voting sheets for a sheet of ice and laced up for the Congressional Hockey Challenge. Whoa. Emmer and the rest of the Team Lawmakers beat Team Lobbyists 8-3 after taking an early lead, marking the 5th consecutive win for the Lawmakers in the 13th annual charity game.
That's my favorite part. Okay, so one of the lobbyists is a former goalie for a professional hockey team. It's so obvious they're throwing the game. It's hilarious, okay? 8-3, one of the legislator dudes like 98. He's like,
no.
Okay.
House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, I've seen his moves. He's smooth.
Really?
No, of course not. Are you kidding me?
Wait. I'm like, is this like a Kevin Costner kind of situation?
No, definitely not. How dare you?
This guy's Emmer Fudd, he's got a mansion and a yacht. Anyways, it reminded me of Putin. Do you remember the propaganda video we showed of Putin playing hockey against the Russian national team? And he scored 5 goals.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Yeah, totally. I mean,
Grandpa's like going around the rink like this, and the national hockey players, like the best players in the world, are like, oh no, he got past me. Oh, he scored another goal. Come on.
So
Come
crazy.
on. And so the lobbyists are like, oh, oops. Yeah. They got past the professional hockey goalie again.
So let's talk about which lobbyists were there. By the way, I should note, for the congressional lawmakers who couldn't make it to the game, they sent their staff, right? And the staff, those are the ones who take up the meetings with the lobbyists for the most part as well. So the corruption continues. But nonetheless, I wanted to give you some names that attended the hockey game. Trevor Hanger, who's the senior vice president of a company known as Forbes Tate, was there. Now he made headlines a few years ago as an emergency backup goalie for the Washington Capitals. So I think that's who you're referring to, Cenk.
And they scored 8 goals on them against a professional. 8 goals. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
So I did a little research on Forbes Tate because obviously I didn't know what that was. And here's what their statement is on their website about what their company does. Our team has a history of working with government officials, C-suite executives, I bet you do, from Fortune 100 companies and leaders to some of America's most dynamic organizations, often fostering new development of new and sometimes non-traditional partnerships. Okay, my favorite part is the second half of this. Our knowledge of the complex anatomy of government decision-making processes opens doors to our clients across the nation's capital and around the country. We have developed and continue to maintain productive working relationships with local, state, national, and international policymakers that allow us to provide successful, integrated solutions for our clients. I mean, the corporate speak for something as simple as we help companies bribe politicians is amazing.
It is.
It really is amazing.
It could be said in one sentence, and that was it, what Anna just said.
Yeah.
Look, this is when a lot of the people in Washington be like, these progressives, they're so mean.
Yes.
And they don't even want us to just have fun every once in a while.
No, I don't.
Remember comedy, like COMITY, like getting along with people, cordial. God, they're such barbarians. We prefer civility in cars. No, guys. I have the same standard for this as I do with the White House Correspondents' Dinner. If it was the exception rather than the rule, then I'm perfectly happy with it. Oh my God, play hockey, smash into each other. Lawmakers be like, this is the one time I'm gonna take it out on a lobbyist coming in here bothering me all the time. Boom! And no, you can't get what you want in the bill, right? No, instead they ass slap hockey. They're like, hey lobbyists, hey lawmaker, I got the money coming for you later. We'll make out tomorrow, right?
1000%.
So this is the rule, not the exception. That's why it's kind of disgusting.
Other people who were there in terms of the lobbyists, Nick Lewis, who's a senior vice president at UPS's Legislative Affairs Office, so he's just the lobbyist for UPS. And also Michelle McGregor, who's a senior strategist at Orrick. If you're wondering what Orrick is, it's a law firm for venture-backed companies.
But I bet they won't give any money to the politicians.
So yeah, I mean, look, that you're right, Cenk. The reason why this stands out so much to us is because this is not the exception. This is the rule. This is the majority of what elected lawmakers do: fundraising, meeting with lobbyists, getting bribed legally, of course, because our Supreme Court has baked it into our political system. And what also caught our attention was, as always, David Sirota's incredible reporting. He's been calling out how the corruption is not only baked into our politics, but it's also baked into the way media reports the news. So he provided an incredible example of how Politico has been featuring sponsored content from Norfolk Southern.
Yeah.
And it is incredible stuff. To try to shut down this new regulatory push, the railroad industry's top Washington lobbying group is running ads that look like native content touting rail companies' alleged commitment to safety in Politico's Huddle newsletter, a so-called play-by-play guide to all things Capitol Hill, all while the industry urges policymakers to hold off on issuing new regulations. Now, of course, this is super relevant right now, considering Norfolk Southern's train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. It's been a big controversy. It's drawn a lot of attention to the lack of regulation, safety protocols when it comes to the rail industry. And here is what the sponsored ad looked like. You see the Politico logo on there, and then you also see a statement from the Association of American Railroads, which of course Norfolk Southern is part of. When it comes to safety, 99.9% is not enough. While 99.9% of all hazmat shipments that move by rail reach their destination safely, we know a single incident can have significant impacts.
Yeah, so this is amazing in a couple of ways. Number one, what native content means is content disguised to make it look like it's real articles, right? So a lot of people, the overwhelming majority of people that see that will not see this thing that says presented by, right? They'll see the giant Politico, it makes it look like it's a Politico article. Then they read the quote, and the quote sounds like, oh my God, the railroad industry is so great. They're safe 99.9% of the time. What else do people want? They don't mention that 1.1% of the time creates unbelievable accidents, hazards, balls of fire over Ohio and other states, etc. Right? It's greatly misleading. And why does Politico print that? For the money, Lebowski. That's why. But get a load of the second twist here. Politico criticized the lever because they said the lever is trying to fundraise off this disaster. Wait, what were they doing? They were asking for their readers to subscribe, like the New York Times does.
Right.
That's literally the business model of every paper in America. But Politico didn't like
That the Lever did good reporting on East Palestine, reporting that Politico would never do in a million years because they would upset their corporate sponsors.
And
is that what you're referring to?
So they go out of their way to say, can you believe what the Lever's doing and how they're getting money from their readers? Outrageous.
You know
and then
what?
they go take a bag of cash from the guys who caused the accident, and they don't. No, but that's not biased.
No, guys. Why don't we upset Politico further? And if you have the funds available, please subscribe to The Lever. Because honestly, I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Their reporting on the train derailment in East Palestine was essential in understanding how the effort to deregulate the safety protocols happened, how it worked across multiple administrations. So I would love nothing more than to upset Politico by increasing the subscriber base for The Lever. So please subscribe to them.
Okay, by the way, number one, we say that because no matter what happens, we're honest with you guys, and The Lever has done fantastic reporting. And number two, there's nothing wrong with progressives backing other progressives.
Yes.
There's something very right about it. Almost no one else does it. And Sirota and everyone else there is doing a fantastic job. Politico is a joke. Sirota also pointed out that Punchbowl News is having an event where they're talking to a Republican congressman, Patrick McHenry from North Carolina, and it's sponsored by Apollo Global Management, a private equity company. So these outlets, and they think that is perfectly normal. We get money from private equity, we get money from the train companies, we get money from pharmaceutical companies to do reporting. Do you? Or do you get money to do marketing? Thanks for watching The Young Turks, I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.